Good morning students. In the previous video I got a good response from the students, and at the same time I have been requested to create another video on the movies that may help the students to build the knowledge of English literature. So this video is about the movies that is available on the Netflix for you to watch. If you watch one film or a documentary based on world history or on important writer or novel, then at the end of couple of months you will see a sudden spike in your knowledge of English literature. Moreover, reading books is a long-term process and you cannot read every book which is recommended in the syllabus. Let's not ignore the fact that most of the students do not have the reading habit, and if you will start developing the reading habit, it will consume a lot of your time. Maybe it will take you a couple of years to develop the reading habit. So if you are just starting now and want to crack your UGC-NET examination, then the smart work says you to watch the movies and documentaries. So before beginning this video, if you have not joined my Telegram channel yet, then join my Telegram channel where I will update you as soon as a new video goes live. You can simply check the link in the description below to join this Telegram channel. So now without any further delay, let's begin this video. So the first movie in our list is Sajiwa. This is one of my favorite movies that I watched a few years back. The film is based on the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, and with his assassination, the World War I began. This World War I can be avoided, but the European powers did not want them to do so. At the end, the blame of the murder of the Archduke of Franz Ferdinand of Austria was put on the country Serbia, which led in the World War I. The second Netflix movie that I recommend you to watch is a documentary titled Born in Gaza. I have recently watched this documentary after the conflict between Israel and Palestine appeared in the news. The good thing about the documentaries created by Netflix is that these documentaries often use original footages and are backed up with high quality research. I have devoured a lot of movies and documentary in the past few months. Undoubtedly, all these movies has worked as a catalyst in developing my knowledge of world literature. So this particular Netflix documentary is based on the conflict of Israel-Palestine and its effect on the children of Gaza. Similarly, we have another movie on the conflict of Middle East, which is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. The story is set against a backdrop of tumultuous events in Kabul. There was already a question in UGC-NET examination from the novel The Kite Runner. In that question, the protagonist of the novel The Kite Runner was asked. The answer to that question was Amir. So if you have read The Kite Runner or have watched the movie on The Kite Runner, you could have easily answered the question rightly. I have read the actual text of novel when I was in my first year of graduation. Indeed, this novel is one of the novels that has contributed in my journey as a writer. So either you can read the novel or you can watch the movie as per your wish. So now the third movie in our list is The Partition of 1947. This movie is one of the amazing movies that will not let you forget about what had happened during the partition of India and Pakistan. The movie also talks about power, politics, and how the two leaders, Nehru and Jinnah, were so much desperate to divide the countries in two halves, what we now know as India and Pakistan. This movie is not directly associated with English literature, but it will help you to understand partition literature in a better way. Moving forward, the fourth movie that I highly suggest you to watch is a 47-minute long documentary on Russian Revolution. This documentary was released in 2017 on Netflix and one of the highly recommended videos to understand the factors that led to the Russian Revolution. The documentary covers the basics and the trials of events that led to the revolution of 1917, which further led to the formation of Soviet Union. So it won't take much of your time to complete watching this documentary. Coming on to our fifth important movie, which is based on the novel by Jane Austen. You will find questions from this particular novel once in a while in your UGC-NET examination. Either they ask you the minor characters or the plot of this novel. The title of this novel or movie is Sense and Sensibility. The first time I watched this movie 3 years back. Then later on I watched this movie last year with a friend who too was preparing for UGC-NET examination. With might and main, he too has cracked the UGC-NET examination in English literature last year. So I hope you too will find this movie worth your time. So now let's move on to our sixth movie that you may think of watching. This movie is particularly based on the Trojan War. The title of this movie is Troy. Remember that there are two titles presented on the Netflix. One is TV series and another is a movie where Brad Pitt has played the lead role and the actress Diana has played the role of Helen of Troy. There is a great place of Trojan War in the subject English literature. Many novels have been inspired from this great war. So don't forget to watch this movie if you want to know more about the beautiful woman Helen. She is the same woman who launched the 1,000 ships and burned the topless stars of Ilium. So moving forward, let's quickly jump on to our next important upcoming movie. The title of this movie is 300: A Rise of an Empire. This movie is not directly related to English literature, but it will help you to understand about the ancient cities like Sparta or Athens. Athens is the same place where the great philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, and Xenocrates were born. So it is a good movie where 300 warriors wipe off the battlefield. The movie is also recommended if you want to learn more about the values and principles of Greece. So now let's talk more about the movies that talk about English history. So the 8th movie in our list is Elizabeth the Golden Age. You cannot afford to miss this movie if you want to understand the Elizabethan age in great depth. The film is one of the best films that has ever been made on the Elizabethan age. The good thing about this picture is that it is directed by the Indian director Shekhar Kapoor. Shekhar Kapoor was the same person who directed Mr. India, where Anil Kapoor played the lead role. The movie Elizabeth the Golden Age has been nominated twice for Oscar. There is another title which is going to be released soon on this Elizabethan series. The title of the upcoming movie is Elizabeth the Dark Age. Still we don't know when this movie is going to release, but till then we can watch the Elizabeth the Golden Age in order to improve our knowledge of Elizabethan age. Moving forward, another movie which is based on the history of English literature is The Other Boleyn Girl. This Other Boleyn Girl is none other than the mistress of Henry VIII. Henry VIII was the same king who ordered to execute Sir Thomas More. If you are studying British literature, you cannot afford to miss reading Utopia by Thomas More. This work was first published in 1516 in Latin language, but later on translated in English in 1551. So Henry VIII was the same person who executed Sir Thomas More. Henry VIII was the same person who established the Church of England, which is also known as the Anglican Church. He misused the ongoing event of the Protestants, which is led by Martin Luther King, and in lieu of that he established the Church of England. And later on he went on to marry the Queen Boleyn. The movie is interesting and explores the social and economical condition of 16th century England. Moving forward, the 10th movie which is available on Netflix for you to watch is of the sibling of Queen Elizabeth. The title of this movie is Mary, Queen of Scots. The journey of becoming Queen of the England was not easy for Queen Elizabeth. Mary, Queen of Scots was the rightful heir of the England, whereas Elizabeth I was an illegitimate product of unlawful marriage of King Henry VIII. On one hand, Queen Mary of Scots was a Catholic, and on the other hand, Elizabeth was a Protestant. Even Elizabeth tried to convert the whole country into Protestant. She had a very harsh image in the England, but her social, political and economical success made her popular. So this movie is about the Queen Mary of Scots and her sibling Elizabeth. You cannot skip watching this movie if you are curious to know more about the siblings. So let's move on to our 11th movie, which is again based on English history. The title of this movie is The King. The movie is based on Henry V of England. The plot is taken from William Shakespeare's historical plays, and here you will find the famous character named John Falstaff and how he died in the battlefield. Falstaff is the same character on which Shakespeare's another play, Merry Wives of Windsor, was based on, and Henry V was the same king who won the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. So it's a good movie to experience the characters like Falstaff or Henry V through this Netflix movie. Moving forward, the 12th must-watch movie is based on Indian literature. The title of this movie is The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga. The film stars the two popular personalities, Priyanka Chopra and Rajkumar Rao. The novel is also 2006 Man Booker Prize winner, and the story is being told in humoristic way. I remember a few years back I read this novel on my travel to Dehradun. Indeed, nothing can substitute the skill of reading, but again, if you are preparing for your examination, the smart works always pays than hard work. So don't forget to watch this movie, The White Tiger. Now let's quickly look on to another movie which is based on the diasporic writer Salman Rushdie. This novel is also a Man Booker Prize winner. The title of the novel is Midnight's Children, and a lot of times there were questions from this particular novel in English literature examinations. In 2012, the book was adapted in the movie with the same title, Midnight's Children. The story sets during the emergency of 1975 declared by Indira Gandhi, and for the next 2 years until 1977, the power was in the hands of Prime Minister of India. Simultaneously, a mass forced sterilization campaign was led by Sanjay Gandhi. So the same has been portrayed in the work Midnight's Children. So don't miss out watching this movie also. Moving forward, our 14th Netflix series is based on a novel by Louisa May Alcott. The title of this movie is Little Women, and the story is about the four March sisters. Scholars believe that the novel to be a semi-autobiographical work. There was also a question from this particular novel in the examination. In that question, the title of the novel was asked and the answer was Louisa May Alcott. Moreover, Louisa May Alcott is one of the important writers that you must study in American literature. Interesting thing about the writer is that she grew up in the presence of writers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and other transcendentalist writers. So the movie is based on the first part of the work Little Women series. You can simply watch the Little Women to get an idea about the life of the writer and her sisters. With this, let's move on to our 15th movie, which is based on a novel by Edith Wharton. The title of this movie is The Age of Innocence, and the novel was written after the World War I in 1920, which was later on adapted into a movie. I have watched this movie last year during the lockdown, and I hope you too will enjoy watching this movie. Now let's talk about the documentary 13th, which is titled After the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution. 13th Amendment is the same amendment which abolished slavery throughout the United States in 1865. 1865 was the same year when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. This documentary basically tells that how slavery is still taking place in America, especially in prisons. It's a must-watch documentary if you want to understand the 21st century America and how racism has evolved all these years. Moving forward, the 17th movie that is available on Netflix for you to watch is the Anna Karenina. The movie is based on a novel of Russian writer Leo Tolstoy, and there were a couple of questions that has been asked from this particular novel. I remember there was a question in the examination that has been asked from the last scene of this movie. If you have watched that movie earlier, you could have picked the right option. So this movie is also an important piece of art in order for you to understand the works of Leo Tolstoy. Coming on to our 18th movie, it is also a documentary. This documentary is based on a young girl, Anne Frank. A surprising fact about this work is that Anne was only 13 years old when she started writing his diary. The tragedy was that she was a Jew and born during the era of Hitler. She died after 2 years at the age of 15. But what she left behind was something that shook the whole world. I have personally read The Diary of a Young Girl. This documentary is not that big. It will consume around 70 to 80 minutes of your time. But every minute you put watching this documentary would be worth of your time. So with this, let's move on to our 19th movie, which is Schindler's List. I haven't watched this movie yet and it's in my wish list. I come to know about this movie from my previous video that I created on Netflix. There is a student recommended this movie in the comment section, and now I am looking forward to watch it this month. So this drama is based on the novel written by Australian writer Thomas Keneally. The movie is about the member of Nazi party who saves the lives of Jews. So this movie is also a great watch for this weekend. So now let's talk about the recent movie which is on the top of the Netflix. The title of this movie is The Girl on the Train. The movie stars the famous Bollywood actress Pariniti Chopra. This film is based on Paul Hawkins' 2015 novel of the same name. I was about to read this novel, but a friend of mine picked it from my room. He never returned this novel to me. So that's why I watched this movie on Netflix. The movie got mixed response from the critics. You yourself can decide after watching it. So now let's quickly move on to our last movie that you may find interesting. The title of this Netflix movie is A Fortunate Man, which is based on the novel of Henry. The author of this novel is also the 1917 Nobel Prize awardee for literature. The author is a Danish writer, although he is not important from UGC-NET perspective. But if you still want to learn more about this Nobel Prize laureate, you can simply watch the movie based on his works. So with this, we have to come to the end of this video. I hope you found the video worth your time. If you're new to this channel and have not subscribed this channel yet, then don't forget to subscribe the channel for more updates on English literature. So that's it for this video. Thank you.